Hi, we are lost in translation. In today's episode of The Ways We Think, we are going to talk about gender-related issues in different countries.
Of course, gender roles is something that we take very seriously in my country.
I think that in my country, gender roles are not as well defined as they were like 50 years ago.
For example, the woman in my country is perceived as a homemaker, is perceived as someone who puts the home together, who always takes care of the children and everything that has to do with housework, while the man always works and brings money.
Most of the time it's my father who takes care of the cooking and who does so really well. I'm not saying that my mother never cooks, but most of the time it's my father.
Man in my country is not supposed to cook in the kitchen, he's not supposed to do any housework, he just go out in the morning, work, bring money, then the woman does everything. That's the way it is.
A woman is not judged if she wants to focus on her career and not get married and have children.
Women are now more free to do whatever they want, but not forgetting that they are also mothers of the house.
I think the big difference between Belgium and Russia is that some things that are only considered polite in Russia, for example, a man helping a woman put on her coat, would be considered like flirting in Belgium. For example, if a man proposes to carry a woman's bags after, like grocery bags for example, the woman would be like, oh, is he flirting with me? Does he want something else?
They have to take responsibility for the family and for their wife, and the women, they should dress decently, normally and properly.
You just have to be decent in the way you dress to perceive as a decent woman.
Nowadays, they are not quite accepted that kind of transgender or gender non-conforming people. But actually, we have a talk show hostess. She's a transgender.
If there are, maybe they are very like in minority. There's no much. Let me say transgenders.
So she's popular because she knows how to express her opinions.
My country has a large, very great number of gender-related violence and rapists. There's a lot of rape happening in my country. That's true.
I think every girl has experienced sexism at least once in her life. I remember once when I was about 14 years old, I was walking in the street and a car slowed down beside me, and the guy opened the window and he just said, "Hey bitch," and he went away. And I still don't know what I did to deserve this.
A lot of women, they want to express their opinion, their dissatisfaction on the internet, but there is no leader or that kind of movement.
I think feminism is very important and it's necessary because it's not normal to be harassed in the streets or to be paid less than men just because you're a woman.
I respect wherever you are, you're a woman, you're a man, whatever, just I believe that we all should have the same possibilities, that's all. Sometimes feminists want not only more possibilities but also some extra things, like to be like covered or held by the government in some way. I think that's just too much. Just with the fact that if you are free to do whatever you want, but you gotta be prepared for that freedom. You can be free to go out naked, but you gotta be aware that if there's 100 men and there's 3 men who like to rape women, you gotta be prepared for those 3 men. And that's freedom. You are free to do whatever you want, just be responsible with your freedom. I don't think but I don't place myself in that movement. I don't follow like feminism, but I believe in equality.
A few years ago, I wasn't interested at all by feminism, But then I read a lot of articles about rape cases in America where the rapist got away with what he did just because the judge said that the woman was asking for it because she was wearing a skirt or because she was drunk, so it was her fault. And it was a shock for me. I mean, we're in 2017 and those kind of mentalities are still there, and I realized that we needed to change that.
Respect your culture, but don't let it decide for you. Be kind, be human,